Okay, let's find out now if George can predict the right winners for this weekend. And we'll start with District 2-5A as a big matchup happens out at Lowry Field between San Angelo Central and Monterey. And George, before we get into the matchups, obviously two big games, not just for Monterey, but also Coronado, because they can somewhat control their fate and if they can make it to the postseason in these two games. Yeah,
not only do Coronado and Monterey control their own fate, but here's your irony twist. They're going to have to root for each other to win on Friday night because both can clinch a playoff spot if they win, if each win and the other one wins. It's really kind of convoluted, but I'll make it simple. Coronado plays Lubbock High, Monterey plays Central. If Coronado and Monterey win, not only do they knock Lubbock High out of the picture, but they also knock Central out of the picture because both Coronado and Monterey would hold the tiebreaker over Central, if they ended up tied, especially if they end up in a three-way tie. So for third and fourth place right now, that's what Lowry Field comes down to on Friday.
All right, so who do you like in this one? San Angelo Central, Monterey, the first matchup.
I like Monterey in this one because I think they're going to have enough offense to get past Central, and I think they'll have enough defense. Central, I feel bad for them, in a way because this is the third time they've had to come up to Lubbock and play the 4 o'clock game, and they're 1-1 in those games, and they really, quite honestly, could be 0-2, if not for that late field goal. I think Monterey is going to have enough offense to be able to overcome Central, and then I think Monterey is going to have enough defense to hold Central down. I look for kind of like a score like it was when Central played Coronado, maybe a 35-21 game, something like that, but I like Monterey to bounce back and get the win in this one.
Lubbock High showing their best performance on offense last week. Coronado, not so much, but probably wanting to prove that they can be a playoff team in this game.
Yeah, I think so. I talked about Friendship being a little schizophrenic. Coronado is a little schizophrenic as well. You just never know which team is going to come out. Is it going to be the team that came out and dominated Central, or is it going to be the team that came out and laid the egg against Tascosa? I think in this game, because of what's on the line, and I think just because Coronado is going to have a little bit better talent on the field than Lubbock High, I like Coronado to go ahead and win this one and clinch a playoff spot as well.
Friendship and Randall in our next game. This has been a game that's gone each way the last few years, but obviously Friendship's somewhat deflated now because they know their season's pretty much over, and Randall playing pretty good for right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of Friendship team comes out and what kind of approach they take. If they're out of the playoffs right now, they really don't have anything to play for this season. It's a lot about looking at what's going to happen next season. Does Brad Davis play some younger kids, or does he stick with the veterans and let them play out the season and let the seniors play out the season like he usually does? It's going to be an interesting game. I don't know if it'll really matter because I think Randall being in the playoff chase in 3-4A and being in a title hunt in 3-4A is going to make more of a difference. Friendship having to go up to Kimbrough Stadium up there in Kenya, I think, is going to make all the difference in the world too. I don't like Friendship's chances anymore. I like Randall in this one.
Estacado and Levelland, and then Shallowater and Cooper are next two games. I'm going to look at both of these because obviously the favorites, I would think somewhat in these games, are the two teams looking at each other for the final week for that showdown. But how do Estacado and Cooper both keep from looking over Levelland and Shallowater?
Well, I think for Cooper, it's not going to be a problem. I think Cooper is going to be really focused for Shallowater because this is a game that I talked with Coach Wyndham about. They had to have a certain type of focus for their first 3 games. Now these next 2 games, they've got the contenders that they feel like they were going to have to go through to win the district championship. So for Cooper, I don't think the focus is going to be a problem. And I think the talent-wise, they'll be able to handle Shallowater and being at home. I like Cooper in that one. Now for Estacado, it's different because they're the ones that they really got to kind of stay focused. But I just don't see how Levelland, even if Estacado plays flat, that Levelland is going to have any kind of chance in this one right now. Estacado is just running so many weapons out there. I mean, for crying out loud, they've run a freshman out there for the last 2 weeks who is the fastest, maybe the fastest back I've seen, maybe faster than a biggity out there, a kid named Robert Johnson. Just super fast and super talented, and so they just have a wealth of talent being built up out there. I like Estacado easy over Levelland, and I like Cooper at home over Shallowater.
Abilene-Wiley visiting Snyder in our next game. Of course, we found out a lot about Ward, the type of production that he's creating for the Tigers. Who do you like in this one?
I like Snyder in this one because I think, with Abilene-Wiley, they've had some tough times. They've bounced back, with 3 wins. They beat Estacado, and then they've had a couple of wins in district to start off. But I think Snyder, is just going to have too much for them, like we talked about with Ward and all their offensive weapons. And then I think defensively, they're going to be able to handle Abilene-Wiley. Abilene-Wiley just not as talented as it has been in the past, so I'm going to go with the Tigers in this one.
Tulia visiting Abernathy. Do you see a win in the future for the Lopes?
I do, and this is going to be a very, very key one. This is probably going to decide third place. Abernathy has lost to Fritch and to Spearman in that district, and so, this is going to be for third place. Tulia, credit Tulia. This is a program that, just a couple of years ago was canceling its season because it didn't have enough players and had injuries and everything like that. But, they've kind of gotten, reinfused a little bit at the 2A level and have been playing very good football. But I think Tulia having to go on the road to Abernathy, I think Abernathy is going to have too much for them. Maybe a close game, maybe about a 4 or 5 point game, but I think the home field advantage for Abernathy is going to make the difference. Go with the Lopes.
Don Williams probably not very happy with that.
Probably not, but he's used to it by now.
All right, and Crosbyton at Hamlin in our final game. Who do you see winning in this one?
It's tough. Growing up around that area, Hamlin was one of those teams that you always had problems with. And maybe one of the best mascot names out there, the Hamlin Pied Pipers. How much more fitting can you get? They're green and white. Yeah, it's the whole stereotype deal out there. But, Hamlin plays very good football. But credit Crosbyton. The reason I put this game on here is because Crosbyton has been playing very good football this year, 7-1. A lot of weapons out there for the Chiefs. I would not be surprised if Crosbyton wins this one, but I think Hamlin, being the district favorite, is living up to it right now. I think it's going to be a close game, but kind of like the other game, I think Hamlin, with the home field advantage, is going to win this one.
All right, so Georgia's picks for Week 9, San Angelo Central losing to Monterey, Coronado getting the win over Lubbock High, Randall over Friendship, Estacado over Levelland, Cooper over Shallower setting up that showdown, Snyder over Wiley, Abernathy over Tulia, and Hamlin over Crosbyton. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Football Fever, and as always, we would like to thank everyone at LISD TV for what they do. Be sure to log on and check out their website for more information on upcoming shows and games that you can follow all your favorite teams each weekend at the Avalanche-Journal's high school website, LoneStarVarsity.com, for all the news and scores from around the area. We'll also recognize one more time, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Georgia and I sporting the pink for at least one more time this month. We may have to do it again next month because if the Rangers keep winning while we're wearing these pink shirts,
we're superstitious. We're not going to change.
We're going to have to keep them on. So, of course, it's our beloved Rangers in their first World Series for the first time in team history. And George and I will be rooting feverishly all week long. For George Watson, I'm Travis Cram. We'll see you next week on Football Fever. Go Rangers. I'm going to get that. Oh, wait, is that Kenneth? Is this Kenneth's fault? Just want to make sure. You get that clear. Is that on record?
Finally, it's not
my fault.
Talent. It's not
anyway,
the talent.
It's not the talent. Welcome back, everyone, and it's no wonder why the Cooper Pirates are playing so well. Right? See? Man, all your fault, Kenneth. You're right over there.